All righty, got this going. All righty, to ye all. Peaceful greetings to ye all. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghazil Bey here in Morocco at Northwest of Mexico. How are you? Guys, welcome to our Impromptu Improv. This is part 4 for AA209316, which is Clock of Destiny, book 2. All right, we're going to do about 4 pages in the PDF, and for the parts that are, illegibly recognizable, I have, of course, my hard copy of Clock of Destiny book 2 also, so that I can be able to fill in what is what and where what is, right? So with that being said, guys, let me go and start the screen share. We're just going to get things going. Make sure I'm monitoring too with you guys also. Mother Sahar says, happy Holy Venus degree to everyone. Happy Holy Venus degree, Mother Sahar. And Jen V says, happy Holy Venus degree. Happy Holy Venus degree, guys. I know the more and more we do this Clock of Destiny book 2 up to the point where we complete it, you guys are going to really love what C.M. Bay had already written about between 1947 and 1952. You will not be disappointed. You will also see that what it is that we speak about and what it is that we speak on, it's very consistent with, the position pertaining to ones such as myself being Moorish American. All righty. So with that being said, without further ado, let's just really get started and knock this thing on out. Brother Derek Blash Bay says, happy Holy Venus degree to everyone. Happy Holy Venus degree to you too, Brother Derek. So let me go and knock out this screen share, right? Mindeth, notteth, the printereth in the backgroundeth. All righty, so here we go, guys. I am showing you guys we are here at the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Administrative Functions, pages 48 and 49. And handsomely standing due guard in his Moorish Sharif's fez and Abba is Prophet Noble Ali. All righty, and we're going to do our invocation in here. All righty, our invocation in is termed the Moorish American Prayer. All right, so supreme honors as always the Prophet Noble Ali. And we're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. We're going to have our feet on a 45-degree angle, like Prophet Noble Ali's feet there in that picture, if you can see it. And we're going to face east, directional east, which is metaphysically symbolic to going within. And you can repeat after me either aloud or in your heart. Islam. Islam, Allah, the Father of the universe. Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. With Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. All righty, guys. Let's enjoy our shells, all right? And have a ball, right? Make sure this is still going. Reload, right? Looking at an astro clock here, all right? So now we're going to go to the 2 letters to be read in every meeting. The first one is in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Administrative Functions, pages 84 to 85. The following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Ali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anno Domini. He commanded that it be read before every meeting. Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue, Noble Ali founder, Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Dear brother, Islam, I am glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy, quote unquote, about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finances badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my, quote, fame and nobility, end quote, period. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause. Noble Drew Ali. The second letter to be read in every meeting is within our Moorish literature, excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper. And of course, they're on page 12, handsomely standing due guard in his Moorish Fez and Abbas Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And on page 13, divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslim governors ordered to read the proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets, as well as the internet, right? We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And now we're here at the portions pertaining to Clock of Destiny Book 2, copyright certificate number AA209316, right? Where we know our zodiac constitution is AA222141. But however, this one here, Clock of Destiny Book 2, is AA209316. And we know Clock of Destiny Book 1 is copyright certificate number AA77869. If I'm recalling that correctly. So we're going to start at Star Spangled Banner. All righty, that's where we are. All right. The national anthem of the United States of North America, 1863, was written by Francis Scott Key, scot-free, during the decisive war between the Franciscans and the falling Moors in the year 1814, which is equivalent to the year 1234 Moorish calendar year. For many years, the Union States of 1863 had no official national anthem. Finally, it was adopted as the national hymn. This is, it's funny here, it says the Stature of Liberty. In this book, it says the Statute of Liberty. But I'm thinking that, typographically, to be typographically correct, I think it should say statue without the T between the U and the E. But it's got that for both the Statue of Liberty and the Statue of Christ of the Andes in Argentina, South Americana. All right. However, we'll just read the Statue of Liberty on Bedloe's Island in the Bay of New York was designed by Bartholdi and presented by the franchise or free people of the Union States in the year 1881 in honor of the victorious daughters of the American Revolution, who overthrew the Moorish Society of Islam. The statue was completed in 1886. That's interesting. That's when Prophet Noble Drew Ali manifested. On Ellis Island, all quote unquote white foreigners are taught to uphold the Union States' right myth of white supremacy before they can qualify for citizenship in good old U.S.A. So in other words, like, don't you tell these Moors that they're Moors. You have to, you have to always, in some way, shape, or form, reiterate that they're black, that they are black, they're blacker than black, and then black, y'all. You see a copper tone being, call them black. We got to keep the lie alive, keep the white supremacy myth alive. And that's what happens before people can get their, citizenship manual, which is also, if I'm not mistaken, the D.A.R. manual, which is the Daughters of the American Revolution manual for citizenship. So it's like, don't, wake these Moors up and let them know that they're Moors. You got to keep the lie alive, right? The next part that seems to be kind of scratched it out, that it says the statue of the Christ of the Andes in Argentina, South America, was erected in the year 1892 in honor of the free Franciscan Sons of the Union Army of the North America Republic of 1863, who defeated the last of the falling Moorish nation from Cuba to the islands of Hawaii and the Philippines between 1863 and 1898. That's 25 years. The falling Moorish nation are referred to in U.S.A. history books as Spanish. Now remember, this is someone who's writing between 1947 and 1952. We must keep this in mind. Not to say that's to discredit or disqualify anything that CM Beggs published. It's just I'm also saying, like, look at what he's dropping then and how many people may just be hearing this for the first time now. The Moorish nation, Latin surnames, B and L, these surnames are the Moorish descendants of America without legal due process. Your Moorish nationality and name, B and L, comprise your birthrights, which will change you from being a U.S.A. Negro slave to a respected citizen, right? The salvation for all Asiatics, right? For ones to be an American citizen, right? Salvation for all American citizens, not U.S.A. citizen, no, U.S. citizen, American, which the whole quote unquote Western Hemisphere is America, North, Central, and South, and the adjoining islands. Bay means Lord of the Earth, meaning subdue the earth and make it yield all of the necessities of livelihood. Thus, the earth obeys. Right? Thus, the earth obeys. Islam means I am the great. I am, namely, you and me, woman and sons. 2. L means the center of wisdom or gravity, the law of attraction, and the power of the human mind, education. Allah, right? Allah means the Moorish woman who is the mother of modern humanity, male and female of all different shades of skin or colors. Al-Quran or Al-Quran means the chronological record of the Moorish nation, namely the science of the 12 signs of the zodiac, the universal law and constitution, geometry, the square and angle of 90 degrees. The Franciscan Union States Rights Society of 1863 North America and abroad is guided by the Magna Carta and not the Constitution. The Franciscan Union States Rights Society of 1863 North America and abroad is guided by the Magna Carta and not the Constitution. The Franciscan Union States Rights Society of 1863, North America and abroad, is guided by the Magna Carta and not the Constitution. The following reveals how the barbarians of North America, the tribe of the axe and the tribe of the spear, allied together and became the ruler of the world and the seven seas between 1828 and 1898. That's 60 years. The terms Anglia means spear and Sakai means axe in Latin. The term English and Anglo were framed from Anglia, and the term Saxon was framed from axe, right? Sakai, which is axe. So I can see axe with the S in front of it, right? Phrased together brought about the Anglo-Saxons in North and Central America and spread abroad. The Anglia or English language was framed in 1828 in Virginia, from which resulted in the birth of the New World and New Nation. Prior to 1828, the Franciscan tribes were speaking various dialects of Latin, the language of the Moorish nation. Thus, the Anglia or English language is the manifestation of all spoken Latin dialects, which makes it the simplified universal language for the one race, the human race. The history of the 12 signs of the zodiac reveals that humanity on a global scale has been totally cut off from the truth for 400 years. Thus, the history of the signs of the zodiac has revealed to the reader the great chain of human progress through the scientific knowledge and ignorance during the past 51,840 years. Trust y'all are really listening and grasping this. From the Moabites to the Moors, and from the Moors to the Franciscans or the French, right? Or the Anglo-Saxon. Where the dark-skinned, kinky-haired, thick-lipped Moabite or Moorish woman comes from, no one knows. There is not an animal in the world that has thick lips, kinky hair, and dark skin like her. All that which can be proved is that she is the mother of male and female, the human race, who reproduced their kind. She, the Moabite or Moorish woman, is referred to as widow. Please do not take the wrong conception, because all female or women are equally mothers and sisters, and all male sons come into being by way of them. Therefore, all sons are brothers and sons of a widow. The real, I'll leave that just so y'all can see that if you need to see it. The real hell and purgatory. Ignorance of the scientific truth of the works of nature involving the inner nature and action and reaction of human beings, as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac, results in a confused state of mind and mental and economic and social suffering, referred to as hell, quote unquote. The real heaven, freedom, and peace, salam, knowledge of the 12 signs of the zodiac, or knowledge of the zodiac, gives one a perfect state of mind and reason upon that, namely, the forces of nature which dwell within themselves and about them, all of which is referred to as heaven, quote unquote, and happiness and peace of mind with one's self. We have nothing to fear except fear itself. So seek scientific knowledge of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Then you will be set free of artificial culture and fear. Salam means peace in the Moorish language of Latin. This should make you guys see why I am one of very few Moors. I mean, outside of really 7HealStar, it's not too many Moors. I mean, the ones that's a part of, TUPAC, of course, they're and they're present, and they can go over the videos and see. They've gotten mirror sessions before, and you guys will see why I do the mirror session the way that I do. Peaceful greetings, Mother Carmisha. Islam. She says Islam, Moors. Islam, Mother Carmisha. Happy Holy Venus degree. And so this is why this is important. This is why I've been doing things the way I've been doing them, why I provide the mirror AstroLiteracy session, because in reading these books time and time again over the years, just in really, like, if I go back 10 years when I got started, by maybe the middle of year one, if not 3 months in the year, I started getting into the astrology really, really fast, really quickly. Maybe even, I want to say maybe it was even in the first month of my study, because I was watching C. Freeman L. I watched C. Freeman L for 3 months before I ever saw a video of Brother Taj. So with that being said, it's like, I've just, got into it. Of course, I saw videos about C. Freeman L bringing up CM Bay, and he was speaking about both. That's what you see when it comes to me. Like, the fact that I've seen C. Freeman L, even though I don't agree with people still wanting to call people black and things of that, I just don't participate in that. I don't accept people calling me black in any way, shape, or form. And if I'm referring to people, I'll just say copper tone. Because I don't want to perpetuate the white supremacy myth. All right. Even though I know my status is white, I am completely white as far as my status is concerned. My skin tone is a various copper tone. There's many different copper tones there. However, by reading books like these, reading all of Prophet Noble Ali's literature, reading all of C.M. Bay's literature, I'm very clear on my position and why I do what I do. Even if at times, sometimes I think like, man, I get why a lot of people sell out and go and sell packages and all these other things. However, it just doesn't resonate with my being, with my spirit to do something other than make sure people get their mirror AstroLiteracy sessions. That's the first thing. Especially because at one point in time, I wouldn't work with anyone unless they were Moorish American. I just, like, in the last few years, actually was like, all right, let me open myself up to people more than that. The more I because I wanted to make sure I was meeting, Moors first to have what they need. However, I also comprehend, as we're reading here, that we're all Moors on the planet. And I comprehend it from the fact of how the oogenesis process happens. You know what I mean? So I know that mooring is an action that happens within women. You see what I'm saying? And so with that being said, and doing this much study these past 10 years, that's why my position is where it is and why I solidly stay there. All right. It is agreed that educated slaves are the greatest slaves, namely slaves as the result of false history and religious doctrine. Thus, the unconscious Moors of the U.S.A. referred to as Negroes are the world's greatest slaves. They have been educated to believe that the quote-unquote white people, the pale skins, are people brought their forefathers from Africa as Negro slaves, and that Abraham Lincoln set them free in 1863. All of which is the greatest fallacy that the world has ever known. I'm going to read that again. Thus, the unconscious Moors of the U.S.A. referred to as Negroes are the world's greatest slaves. They have been educated to believe that the quote unquote white people brought their forefathers from Africa as Negro slaves and that Abraham Lincoln set them free in 1863. All of which is the greatest fallacy that the world has ever known. All of which is the greatest fallacy that the world has ever known. This is why, sometimes, people want me to like loved ones, even though I think the only real loved one that I actually have, because she comprehends me, she knows me. She's like I'm 100, she's that other 100, and we just make this perfect multiplied 10,000, I guess, if we want to look at it like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, however, it's like, and that's my beloved mother, mistress consort. You know what I mean? Like, she's the only one that I think actually, quote unquote, loves me because she knows me, right? But I know there's other loved ones that I'm biologically related to. They would think like, well, why don't you just get a job? And a lot of times the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I'm really not good at being a slave. I really suck at it. And I'm not really, inspired or looking to aspire to being a really good tap dancer, Bojangle kind of, yes, boss, I shows like to do this, boss, because I just need a paycheck, boss. I've never been like that before declaring and proclaiming my nationality. Honestly, I just never been like that. You know what I mean? Mother Carmisha's like, sheesh, right? With the I see that emoji, right? Roz Blackwell says, peace to all, peace, Roz. Happy Holy Venus degree. So, I'm not really good at these things, and and I get it. A lot of times when I come across different beings, and they want to be, man, you know what I mean. And I've done studied these things so much that it is heavily ingrained in my entire being. Like, I mean, honestly, ever since I learned about nationality in third grade from Miss Zodiacal before she got married and became Miss Civic, near St. John. It was at a school called St. John's Lane, when my mother was using people's addresses in the county because we was, resting our heads near the Baltimore City Corporation on Winchester Street. While I'm there on Winchester Street, during any other time that's not school. During school, I'm out there near what they call Howard County, going to St. John's Lane. One of maybe two Moorish, Coppertone Moorish sons that's there, right? So with that being said, I learned about nationality then, because I remember Miss Civic was teaching about Switzerland and Kenya. And it's funny because I used to say that I was Kenyan because that was the only thing I could relate to, because ever since I was little, I never really liked the whole black and white thing. And I remember when I told one child, I think I even got trouble about it. Maybe just I got like some type of disciplinary write up. But I told this one student, I was like, yo, you're not white. Like, the board is white. You know what I mean? Like, the dry erase board is white. You're not white, man. You're like pink or something. I called him. I think I called him pink or something. I got in trouble, I think. But I don't think that was the one time I actually like caught like punishment and an ass whipping from my mom, because I think she was like thinking like, well, I mean, he's not wrong, you know what I mean? Because I was saying then, especially after learning about nationality and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I'm Kenyan, you know what I mean? And then to grow up, declare and proclaim my nationality at the time, someone who's a Kenyan American is the executive, the chief executive officer of the executive branch, Barack Obama. I was drawing these connections like, that is mind blowing or whatever. However, the point I'm making is that I'm not really good at being a slave. I'm just not. I've never worked for someone else where I punched a clock longer than 3 months in my entire life. I've had multiple jobs, never lasted past 3 months. The only one I lasted past 3 months was the last one that I worked at that I really enjoyed. It was Don Pablo's. Man, I thought they was about to crash. It was Don Pablo's. And because I like waiting tables. However, this particular one obviously wasn't doing great financially. So I thinking I got a full schedule coming up or whatever. And so I was like, dang, I forgot. Do I actually work tomorrow? I'm like, dang, man, that's right. The new schedule came out. All right, so let me call. Yeah, what time can I get my schedule? They read my schedule off to me. I'm getting ready to go to work. I, smoke my before work blunt. You know what I mean? Like that's how I was at that time. Roll up my before work blunt. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, son, go catch the subway out the Owens Mills, because that was the one I was working at, that Don Pablo's. And Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I get to the door and there's a sign on there that says that they've shut down. And they apologized to us. And I'm like, you guys couldn't call. I remember too, it was snowing, because I was like, man, it don't matter. I'm about to go get this bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, waiting tables to me is trapping without having to look over my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm finna serve these fries, serve these, I'm about to serve these tortilla chips, picante salsa, I ain't gotta look over my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, that's what's up. But that only lasted 4 months, not because I got fired, but it just, and I started, and at that point in my life, I was like, yo, why am I not even, and I was like, I was good. I'm showing up on time, if not early. Usually I showed up early because I know how I like to check out what section I got, all that. I like to get prepared. I like to make sure everything that is, when I need to expedite orders, I want to make sure all that is straight before I get going, all that. I mean, I ain't gonna front. I was at a point where I could host, seat people, get their appetizers, after I got their chips and stuff, they order their appetizers. And I was to the point where I had a good timing with the cook, where I could even go back if, like, my cousin wasn't there dishwashing, if he wasn't on schedule and we were short on a dishwasher, which should have been a clue that, eventually that spot was about to close. But I would go there and hurry up and bust them suds real quick, like, knock everything off the plates or whatever, clean out everything, put them in the tray, run up through the dishwasher for real. You know what I mean? But by the time I'm doing that, boom, the food done for whoever I just got their order, boom, I'm traying up, go and take them their order or whatever. I had a little roll. And so I'm thinking, like, man, this was going great. I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? And still shut down. That just made me think, like, yo, I just need to just do my own thing. I need to keep something consistent that, is not harming anybody, anything like that. So, of course, I was selling my own instrumental music. And that's why you guys see me doing what I do here. I mean, I know what I do here is free every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we encourage people, yes, to donate for that and what it is that we do in terms of astrology. And I get it. I'm talking mostly to a people who may be to themselves struggling financially due to this Federal Reserve faith-based currency system, things of that nature, as far as, what we know and the extent of knowledge that we know. And I know a lot of, my colleagues internationally, even though they're pale-skinned beings, I think they're probably doing way better than me as far as having people compensate for astrology. At least that's how it looks. You know what I'm saying? Who knows how they're really living, but that's at least how it looks. And so it's like, man, like, just reading this is like, I just never really been good at being a slave. So I said all of that to say that. So anyway, Mother Carmisha says, word, Brother Hasan, not a good slave. Indeed. He was bringing the napkins before they asked. Oh, yeah, I ain't on front. I was on. Man, let me tell you how sharp I was. This last thing I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to continue reading. A lot of people from Sindh, or their background is from Sindh, what we call Hindustan or now India. They would come and eat at Don Pablo's because they, basically the food is kind of the same everywhere else. They just season it or flavor it or spice it differently. And so because I have like loved ones or family members, you know what I'm saying, that are from India. Like my cousin had married into the Rajagopalan family, right? And for me working, you know, before, you know, at other restaurants, I have learned that those people, they want a cup of hot water to put their utensils in so that they can get the spots off of the water spots if there's any themselves, or they'll keep running you for silverware. And so so these people, they don't know. And I remember one time I think I got a 10 top, right? That means it's 10 people. You know, I got a 10 top of them, and they already are famous for giving you what some people call a Chinese tip, which is $2, right? So they're famous for giving you that. And so when I saw who it was, and that particular host, it was like, oh yeah, Hasan got you, you know, today or whatever. And I waved to them, and I pointed out their seats or whatever, made sure I had all their menus down or whatever. But what I did was, because I was helping the host put their menus down because it was 10 of them. What I did was I ran to the back and got the nachos. I know they like spicy, so I got 2 picantes and 1 mild. But when I came back with that, I also brought them a cup of hot water, and I put it there, right? And the utensils are already on the table. And when they was like, oh, thank you, how'd you know we wanted hot water? I was like, you know, I'm used to that. I was like, I just know that sometimes, you know, people want. It was like, but how did you know it was us? Do you do that for everybody? And that's when I was like, no, not really. I used to work for Hiram Shah, for Econo Lodge, and my family is the Raja Gopalan family. It was like, Raja Gopalan, that's South India. You really? And I would know a little bit of Gujarati or a little Hindi I could speak or whatever. And they would be like, just like that, their face would be like, and then next thing you know, by me doing those little things, and I really think it was the hot water for the utensils, I would get like maybe a 10 note tip, even though it's like that's still kind of low as far as the gratuity, but they would give 10 note tip. And other people that was watching that I was working with, it was like, yo, how you getting like more than $2 out of them? Like, I'm not lying when I say I actually have people from Sindhu that are my actual family, because my mother's cousin, which is my grand cousin, like I said, has a matrimonial obligation. But how it works, because he's from here and unconscious Moor, he had to, you know, take on, you know, my cousin Cavi's culture, right? And so things had to be done that way. And so, you know, just knowing these little things and working again, like I was a lifeguard for someone who owned at the time, before they all turned into Howard Johnson's, the Econo Lodge motels or whatever. And out near the Cockeysville Corporation, I was the only pool manager. I was a 15-year-old pool manager for him. And, you know, his sons and his wife really liked me and embraced me, you know, and so they used to teach me different things too. So they would teach me a little Gujarati, Muzrati, a little Hindi, trying to think. Sometimes they would try to teach me Pashto. So I, you know, little things I can remember, right? From when I was 15, and it just carried on, you know. So I never really been in a, like, even though I'm from the hood, like originally Winchester and Betlow Street near the Baltimore Corporation, and most people in most recent know me from being around near Park Heights for real. And it's like my mind though was always outside the hood, just all the time for real, because of the experiences I had in different areas. So that's why I said all of that, to say that. But yeah, I had the napkins and hot water for the utensils before they asked. Mother Carmisha, you're exactly correct, right? All right, back to the reading, right? Good intermission, right? Now we're here. What are we reading here after, you know, the real heaven freedom and peace. So this part here is saying, well, really it's after it is agreed that the educated slaves, right? This, what's blocked out, says mythical history of the North American barons. That's what it says. If you guys can see right there in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, mythical history of the North American barons. The names such as Africa, Egypt, Babylon, Indian, Negro, Greek, Muhammad, and Ethiopia are that of the product of the Franciscan Dutch priests, pirate masters of the Iron Cross, Habsburg Legion of Brazil, South America, between the Franciscan Revolution of 1789 and the Union of 1863, North America. The Moorish nation, namely the kinky-haired, dark-skinned, thick-lipped people, had no Muhammad as their prophet, and neither God nor religion. The kinky-haired Moorish nation's law is geometry and the 12 signs of the zodiac, realities of which is described in this book, Clock of Destiny, The Secrets of the Great Seal. So you guys are actually seeing, like, right there, right? You guys are seeing that even when there were, you know, in Prophet Noble Drew Ali's literature, it was brought to take your mind back to the mindset, or go back to that mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, so that your days are long upon the earth's land, right? As you're seeing there in Prophet Noble Drew Ali's literature, you're seeing how, you know, some people will try to say, you know, a lot of the like clandestine Masons that are in the these Moorish Science Temple of Americas or whatever, they'll say things like, oh, CM Bay was kicked out of the temple. And it's like, no, CM Bay was actually, I can tell just from what I see, charged with furthering that which is to what I think should have been discussed in Adept Chamber. You know what I'm saying? However, I always took it like, since I've been learning and really just recalling and reading these memoirs of our ancestors, I'm like, it's always Adept Chamber then. It's just what somebody has done was try to take over the Moorish Science Temple of America and do whatever it is when it comes to, you know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and they try to take charge of the situation. And I'm just thankful and grateful that I can see a certain way, even to the point where it's something I'm going to share with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to do it today. I'll probably do it on Sunday, but I'll give you a sneak peek of it. But if you and I'll also say, if you want the link to it, I'll put it in on Sundays, you know, in Sunday's description. But I'll give you a sneak peek of what I'm going to go over, and I think it will really help a lot of people, especially with what we're reading here. All right. But again, you know, the Moorish nation, namely the kinky-haired, dark-skinned, thick-lipped people, had no Muhammad as their prophet, and neither God nor religion. So don't get upset. Well, why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the Muhammadan religion? Because he had to take us back through the corruption that we put ourselves through in order to get us to simply really recognizing simply all it is the universal law of nature as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac. That's one thing, right? That's really it. Geometry in the number 0 through 9, right? So again, the Moorish nation, namely the kinky-haired, dark-skinned, thick-lipped people, had no Muhammad as their prophet, and neither God nor religion. The kinky-haired Moorish nation's law is geometry and the 12 signs of the zodiac, realities of which is described in this book, Clock of Destiny, The Secrets of the Great Seal. Period. It's not hard. You didn't have to get like sexually molested and threatened to keep some brotherhood death oath to secretly wear fezzes pinned down at 33 degrees somewhere, because you know their tassel can't do that. Right? You didn't have to be some clandestine Negro in Prince Hall, a 3-letter organization, 4-letter organization. Well, I was in this Greek society. I'm a part of this fraternity and or sorority, blah, 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 yakety schmackety, right? It's just like, are you serious? There's no way that this is it's not that hard, but what I get, not but however, what I see is some people just aren't destined to get it like I comprehend it and like I'm sharing with you guys. All righty. I have attempted to convey to the reader's intelligence that Negro, Muhammad, Indian, and African as human beings together is a myth. And it's of the philosophers of the Franciscan priesthood of the Revolution and the Union, and therefore have no history. So in other words, that's just for social control. Defeat these people and give them this until we can try to kill them off more, but we really can't. So all we can really do is just slow them down for a couple hundred years. Whenever the so-called intellectuals, politicians, lawyers, and representatives, Negro, slaves, celebrate Negro History Week, look, it's February, right? And boast of being proud of being a Negro, the quote-unquote white peoples, the pale skins, right? Our pale skinned sons and daughters of the Union enjoy a haughty laugh up to their sleeve because they know that the so-called Negro slave leaders represent the blind leading the blind. They know that the so-called Negro slave leaders represent the blind leading the blind. So our pale-skinned sons and daughters are laughing, especially when February hits, because they know that the so-called Negro slave leaders represent the blind leading the blind, meaning Negro slaves have no rights that quote-unquote white women and men, the pale skin, should respect. So the Negro has no rights that these pale-skinned sons and daughters should respect. This fact is what Bilbo of Mississippi had reference to when he once asserted if he, Bilbo, quote, could talk to the Negro from door to door as he wished, the Negro would never want to vote in white society again, end quote. Right? The quote unquote white society, right? Well, the contents of this little book, Clock of Destiny, has fully explained that Bilbo wished to tell the Negro slaves, but could not, owing to his obligation of the Christian Religious Union Social Order of 1863. The very same obligation that every quote-unquote white woman and man of the Order of Mary and Christ are under at home and abroad. So study the contents of this little book and thus redeem yourself from being a Negro slave by way of knowledge, minus violence, guns, atomic bombs, jet planes, and tanks. I myself am not a quote-unquote Negro slave and neither a Christian, yet I am your male brother. I'm just your brother. So you got to remember, over 10 years, I've been reading this year after year. So it is deeply within my entire being. You know what I mean? That this is the way that I think. And it'd be tough because, it's hard to talk to unconscious Moors because they will try to say that you are trying to hurt them, shake their faith, be disrespectful, and they don't have that. That is something that the pale-skinned sons and daughters are laughing at because no one is being just honest with them like Prophet Noble Drew Ali, CM Bay, 7HealStar. We are 7HealStar because we heal stars. You guys are the stars. This thing is not outside of you, it's within you. So we have to heal that ignorance. They gotta get rid of the ignorance, guys. That's what breaks up families. That's what make people argue. People are supposed to be family, but they'll wish negative things on one another because they're lacking this knowledge, this history. All right. Last sentence. The mathematical trip around the world by way of the 12 signs of the zodiac are referred to in Mason mythology as I am traveling east. And when people have ever heard me that, or someone would ask me, I'll come across me like, you're a traveling man. And I'm like, I'm always traveling east. Always. And that's how they'll know. But I'm not trying to be like secret squirrel code brotherhood. I got an obligation, so I got to speak secretly. I'm going to speak openly. While they're uncomfortable looking around because their mindset is we can't speak amongst the undesirables. Well, that's what you've done in taking an obligation to do so. I am here, as CM Bay said, to convey to the reader's intelligence. So I trust they're not just hearing what I say. I trust that they're actually listening. Don't just hear what I say. Listen. And be not offended. Mother Sahar says Carter G. Woodson came up with the Negro History Week. Wowzers. Gratitude, Mother Sahar, dropping it right there, right? That clandestine, unconscious Moor. Mother Sahar says, snap the fingers to wake them out of that hypnotic state. Wake up. Wake up! What was that, School Days by Spike Lee? I think it was, at that time he was called Larry Fishburne, right? It wasn't Lawrence then, right? Next Friday, we're going to get into geography of the 12 signs of the zodiac. We're going to get into that. That's going to be a few pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, I want to stop before the great planet Saturn. Jesus, the birthday Christ. I want to stop before then. Where we going to stop at? Okay, we're going to stop at the great planet Saturn. So that's about 1/3 of a page plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 and 1/3 pages for next Friday, guys. Alrighty, for Clock of Destiny, for our Impromptu Improv, for copyright certificate number AA209316, Clock of Destiny, Book 2. That will be part 5. We'll go over 4 1/3 pages. All righty, because the great planet Saturn, when we get there, I'll be like, yes, right? Yes! We're going to knock that one out. However, that'll be the Friday after next. I can't wait for that one. Go into some other things. But I trust this has been great for you guys, right? Mother Sahara's laughing. Yeah, right? Wake up, right? But yeah, he was Larry Fishburne then. It's not Lawrence, right? So with that being said, what I said I was going to share with you guys, right? The sneak peek, and I might go in on it on Sunday, is this right here, right? And it's a Google Doc for right now. So if you want it before I make it something that's linkable in Sunday's description, before Sunday's description, I'll do that. All you got to do is reach out to me. You reach out to me. You can email 7HealStar@gmail.com. I'll make it that simple. But if you know me, you can text me or whatever. Just text me. Hey, look, can you send that to my email? And it's like, perfect. I have no problem with sending that to the email. I have no problem at all, right? So with that being said, I came up with this question. What does, quote, Jesus Christ died for our sins, end quote, really mean, right? And so I'll show you in simple, what we'll go over, because that's how it, you know, when you see this Q and A, where the A is, right, in the red right there, that's where I'm in. Everything between that red right there and this red right here, where the Q and A is just me explaining why I put it together that way. So I'm citing references so that you guys can have it. And that's why I'm making this free for people. Question: do ones really comprehend what ones are saying when ones say, quote, Jesus Christ died for our sins, end quote, question mark? Answer: interesting question. However, it denotes, and the it is Jesus Christ died for our sins, denotes I am identity, divine idea mind, negated personal self, on account of spirit, soul, and body, falling short in observing and being the divine being law. Jesus is I am identity. Christ is divine idea mind. Died is negated personal self. For is on account of. Our is spirit, soul, and body. Sins is falling short in observing the divine, falling short in observing and being the divine being law, right? The divine law, or the being law, right? And the reason why there's a capital B for being, because it's going back to metaphysics, which, just a spoiler sneak peek before we go in on it on Sunday, I think, even after that, I say, since that's what it is, this then proves, quote, as a man or mind thinks, so is he, or the action. So as a man thinks, so is he, or as a mind thinks, so is the action. So that's what I wanted to go over. Just give you a little spoiler alert. Do ones really comprehend what ones are saying when ones say, quote, Jesus Christ died for our sins, end quote, question mark? I know some people are like, whoa, there's a Moor talking about that? Moors don't go into that. My whole purpose is not to perpetuate blind believerism, the white supremacy myth. That's not what I'm here to perpetuate. What I'm showing is how to take that which was used to keep you in mental slavery and then allow yourself to be drawn out of the mental slavery by seeing the metaphysics pertaining to those words. And then that way, what you have done is turn lemons into lemonade. What you've done is taken a shallow grave and turned it into a garden, where you're no longer laying in it. It's only the seeds being planted from your own mind so that other things can benefit you and grow. Questions, comments, and or suggestions? Going once? And like I said, I'll have references and everything, as you guys will see. And if you want access to that Google Doc before I go over it on Sunday, all you got to do is reach out. It's nothing. We're doing chapter 4 on Sunday, all right? Chapter 4, all right? And so after we're going to do chapter 4, we'll go on that first, and then we'll go into, do ones really know what ones are saying when ones say, quote, Jesus Christ died for our sins, end quote, question mark. And maybe that's something that y'all can use, that have loved ones that are biologically your loved ones, but they are not they are blocking really being loving and being really kind in treatment, because they are under the hypnosis of the order of Mary and Christ, which is not meant for them. That's why, like Sam Bay said, I am not a Negro nor a Christian. Neither is Brother Hasan, because I know we can't be. Copper tone beings can't be Negro or Christian. It's impossible. However, many will violently and vehemently try to defend that in a way where they'll be aggressive about it, either in their speech or whatever. And that just goes to show that that's what happens when people reject the life raft. you want to bring them something that they'll be able to free their minds with, and then they reject it because they have Stockholm syndrome, spiritual Stockholm syndrome. Jen V says, thank you for the reminder. Indeed, Jen V, and I'm sure Robert's there too. And she goes, yes, please. Mother Sahar says, sounds great. I would love to have access to that document. Indeed, indeed. Oh, Mother Sahar, I already know. I can send that to you at log out of here, right? So you guys can just, read it for yourselves and see it. And then, I give reference points. And those links in the Google Doc are active, So even when you saw a Metaphysical Bible Dictionary by Charles Fillmore PDF in blue, that means I'm giving access to where it is within Prophet Noble Drew Ali University. For those that don't have access to Prophet Noble Drew Ali University, you already have access to Prophet Noble Drew Ali University. 9 times out of 10, when you click it, it's going to bing. It's going to be something that's spot on. It shouldn't, go. It shouldn't email me that so and so and so and so is requesting access to this particular PDF. It shouldn't do that at all, actually. I don't think so. However, with that being said, questions, comments, and or suggestions going to Twiz Eyes. I trust that I'm doing good and being a great example for ye all. I trust that I am. I trust that you guys can see that no matter how much I know, no matter what it is that I know, only thing, my highest title that I could ever have is brother and son. That's it. Brother and son are the only 2 titles I can have. I'm my brother's brothers, and I'm my brother's brother and my mother's son. That's all I can be. Because I have what is called Masonic secret knowledge or whatever, when really it's our culture on the planet before we were defeated through the various family feuding taking place on the planet and recorded as different wars. Gen V says, a worthy trust. Indeed. Mother Sahar says, sincere gratitude. Ye are doing excellent. Gratitude to you both. I appreciate ye all. And to the other 8 beings that are here, right? Because I see it's 10 thus far. Questions, comments, and no suggestions going thrice is where I say, guys, schedule your Mirror AstroLiteracy session with Brother Hasan Ghazi Obey, so that we can get started in your self-reflection session, so that you can take this on. Don't be intimidated by astrology. This is our ancient foremothers and forefathers mindset. Everyone, no matter what your skin tone is, you're a Moor. Mooring is what happens in mother's body during a process called oogenesis. That's what we'll call it for now. And oogenesis is when the ovum leaves ovary, travels fallopian tube, and moors itself to the endometrium, right? It moors itself, right? It means it's anchoring, it's sticking, it's has itself, fastened to the endometrium, which lines mother's uterus. That's exactly how this goes, right? So you guys are like really missing out if you are being, prejudicial. Mother Sahar says, indeed, at Gen B. Indeed, guys. So don't forget to give you donations. Also, I will put in the description soon. When I go to edit the description, I will put in there the hold on. So with that, guys, there is what y'all can do is really, think about when you're contributing to 7HealStar, you're just allowing us to further do what it is that we do and sharing what we need to share. You know what I'm saying? Y'all will not be disappointed by what it is that we're sharing. So with that being said, I trust that we all can really see, trust yourselves to love yourselves. And when you hear, we're saying, donate and schedule a session, you can look past it just being about, so-called just getting finances from you guys or whatever the case may be, and really see that we're just really doing a really great service for humanity and uplifting fallen humanity. All right, that's just what it is. That's how we do. All right. So with that being said, what I would like to do, guys, we're going to now do our invocation in, right? And I thank you for the love, Mother Sahara and Chinby and everyone else that's here. What I say is now we're going to do our invocation out, term the Moorish American prayer. We're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. This is how we'll hold our hands while we have our feet on a 45-degree angle while facing directional east, which is metaphysically symbolic to going within. And you can repeat after me either aloud or in ye hearts. Islam, Allah the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, noble Drew Ali. Ameen. Thank you all so much for joining me, guys. When you go to get your victuals, make sure you eat really great. When you go to rest and recharge, make sure you rest and recharge well. Make sure it's very healthy what you're eating when you go get those victuals also. All righty. So with that being said, guys, I love ye all. This is where I'll say to ye all, namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, 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 y'all. Peace.